This is the Road to Champ Week presented by Wendy's. Conference USA and the American Conference meet in a non-conference game on February 25th, and what a game it is. Western Kentucky trying to fight its way to the NCAA tournament against 12th-ranked Houston. Kevin Brown here in New York, Mark Adams out in Ohio. So this is a schedule on the fly, lemonade out of lemons kind of Hall of Famer partner. 96 hours ago, these teams had the week off, and now here is a game at the last minute with huge NCAA tournament implications.
A win-win scheduling situation as Houston gunning for a 2 or 3 seed and a quality opponent in Western Kentucky who's already beaten Alabama, knocked off Memphis, 5 wins against the top 100 in the net, and an opportunity for Western Kentucky to get a quad 1 win tonight and seal the deal for Conference USA as a number 2 bid. This is a huge game.
It is a huge game with huge players, quite literally. An All-American candidate in Charles Bassey. He may be a first-round pick, 3rd in the nation in rebounds and blocked shots, and he gets a test of Justin Gorham and maybe the best offensive rebounding team in America.
Rabid rebounding animals. Charles Bassey devours rebounds like Jim McDaniels used to for the 71 national champions. And Justin Gorham, the most relentless, nasty offensive rebounder. 2 rabid rebounding animals tonight on ESPN. Let's get going, Parts.
There have been a few bright spots in the last season. It's been the most difficult year of frankly all of our lives, and for basketball players maybe the most difficult season they've had to go through. But something like this is really fun. Western Kentucky looking for a game to bolster its at-large chances. Houston trying to find a quality opponent and get some minutes down the stretch. If Western Kentucky, with that win at Alabama already, can pull this thing off, they may be in the tournament no matter if they win in Conference USA. Houston starts with the ball and starts with a feed from Dejan Giroux to Reggie Chaney, who is fouled. You look at the starting 5, Giroux, Quentin Grimes, maybe the American Player of the Year, Marcus Sasser along with Gorham, and then Chaney, who makes his 2nd consecutive start. And Charles Bassey picks up a foul just 10 seconds into the game for Western Kentucky. Reggie Chaney hits the first, a 73% free throw shooter.
Gee, I wonder what Kelvin Sampson's game plan is regarding Charles Bassey tonight. I mean, that play, Chaney went right to the sternum of the shot blocker. And oh, by the way, Bassey's number 3 in America in shot rejections. And Kelvin Sampson said, we're coming right at you, but we're going to get you to make contact with us.
This is arguably the best team in Conference USA. Marshall and North Texas up there too, but a very good starting 5. Davion McKnight, the freshman point guard. Hollingsworth, Anderson, and Williams, all multi-year starters. All great scorers along with Bassey. This shot by McKnight is cleared by Gorham, the leading rebounder in the American Conference.
Let's see if they go inside again and attack Bassey at the rim.
Right now it's Giroux, the senior point guard, who recently passed 1,000 points, been on a scoring tear of late.
Watch Chaney. There he is. They're going to get it to him. He's going to go right at Bassey.
Chaney into Bassey. Bassey defended him well, and it didn't matter because Chaney flips it in with a left. He's got the first 4.
Really good defense by Bassey inside. He built the fence around the basket, but Chaney good enough to go over the fence. A little lob right there, well read.
Lob taken away. Here's Giroux. Houston so deadly in transition, but Giroux turned it over. And the whistles from Patrick Evans, Bert Smith, Jeffrey Clark are officials today. There is Rick Stansberry in his 4th year at Western Kentucky. 14 seasons, 6 NCAA tournaments at Mississippi State. He has done very well at WKU, but has yet to make the NCAA tournament, hoping that the 4th year will be the charm. There's a foul against Sasser, the drive from Hollingsworth. Marcus Sasser with the first foul for Houston. Mark, this side of the ball, what do you expect to see offensively for Western Kentucky?
You know, Western Kentucky runs inside out through number 23, Charles Bassey. Now they lose Luke Frampton tonight, who's not available for undisclosed reasons, and so he is a three-point sniper as we watch Hollingsworth go right to the rim, and he is a scorer. And without Frampton, he's not only going to be a scorer tonight, Hollingsworth's going to have to knock down some outside shots as well. This kid can really deal.
And Sasser was called for that foul. He was not happy about it. It's his second in 2 seconds of game time. So the early foul trouble knocks Marcus Sasser out of the game. Tremont Mark comes in.
You know,
and
Kevin,
a three-point play for Hollingsworth.
This Western Kentucky team, we already talked about knocking off Alabama, but this program has a history of beating big budget opponents. They beat Alabama this year. They beat Arkansas last season. They beat Wisconsin the season before that. Arkansas again. West Virginia, Oklahoma State, USC, Boston College, Purdue since 2017. Do you get the idea these guys are pretty good?
And I get the idea they're not scared. I mean, they're a pretty sizable underdog in this game against Houston, but they will not be coming in here cowardly. There's a drive for Hollingsworth. He's got the first 5, answering a Tremont Mark jumper at the other end for Houston.
Now, Hollingsworth only knows one way, downhill.
Cougars at 18-3, coming off a 38-point win against Cincinnati Sunday. And here's Hollingsworth off the miss from Grimes. He can push the pace.
Wow.
The 4-year starter, Hollingsworth.
Wow.
First 7 points of the game for Western Kentucky.
Acceleration. Travion Hollingsworth just left everybody in the dust.
Grimes, same spot. Different result. He rattles in a 3.
That's a problem if Quentin Grimes going to be that wide open 2 times in a row. That turns into a problem.
4th leading scorer in the American Conference. Makes nearly 3 threes a game. Carson Williams gives it up. Anderson's shot was tipped. Grabbed by Bassey. Hollingsworth will take a 3. And the rebound cleared by Gorham, his second.
Watch the gray jerseys go to the offensive glass. Watch number 4 Gorham as he gets position.
Didn't need it as Mark is 2 for 2 off the bench. And the early foul trouble against Sasser has given the freshman Mark an early opportunity.
Mark is a first shot scorer, and Houston doesn't have a lot of first shot scoring guys. And he's going to be a big key for this Houston offense moving down the stretch and into the NCAA tournament. This team manufactures points with unscripted baskets on the offensive glass.
That's a freshman, Davion McKnight, out of Shelbyville, Kentucky, reigning Mr. Basketball of the state, who muscles his way in for 2. Chaney out for Mark. Cougars 12-0 at home this season. They've won 22 straight here in the Fertitta Center. Mark tries to flip it around Bassey. Gorham got a hand on it, knocked out of bounds and off of Western Kentucky as Gorham stuck with it. Good pace, good start to this one. Houston up by 2, but Western Kentucky playing well.
Tavion Hollingsworth attacking the rim. Special talent from Conference USA.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's. Try the new jalapeno popper chicken sandwich and salad today at participating U.S. Wendy's. For a lot of folks, this may be the first time you're seeing Charles Bassey play. He is a potential first-round pick, 2nd in the nation in dunks, 3rd in blocks, 3rd in rebounds. He looks like a natural on the floor, but this game did not come naturally to him, Mark, because about 8 years ago, Charles Bassey was 12 years old. He grew up poor in Nigeria, and he hadn't ever touched a basketball until a chance meeting.
This was a young man who sold chickens by a bridge on a roadside in Nigeria because his mother, Grace, had a roadside shop, and he sold a lot of chickens. Well, one day, when Charles was 12 years old, a man noticed a tall 12-year-old dude selling those chickens, and he stopped. It was Coach Deli, a basketball coach. So he talked to Charles about taking up basketball. Charles wanted none of it. He didn't want any part of basketball. He loved soccer. So Coach Deli went to his parents, Akpan and Grace, and convinced them to send Charles to his basketball camp. Charles hated the camp so much, he ran away to go back home, but the parents made him go back. On the first day, Charles made a layup. Coach Deli told him, hey, these other guys haven't made a layup for a week. And your first day, you made a layup. You could be good. Boy, he really could be good. His dad saw his his opportunity and sent his son to the States when he was 14 years old. When Charles arrived, his mother Grace passed away. He also lost his aunt and his little brother. Charles talks about this journey, and he said, "It taught me you can leave this world any day. Those experiences made me stronger." This is a kid that sold chickens by the road, and now he's one of the great players in the country. What a story, Kevin.
Amazing, amazing story. Mark hits a three for Houston. We got a chance to speak to Charles yesterday, and I was just struck by how gentle and how sweet he seemed. He is anything but that on the court. He has essentially a vicious nature to his game in the best kind of way, with the block shots, the rebounding, and the physical play. And I asked him why that was. As Gorham scores over the top of Bassey here, and Charles said, "No, I have to be ruthless on the court. I'm playing for my life." He understands the opportunity that's been given to him and the way he's improved from year 1 to year 3 here. Not a lot of kids with his status would have stayed for 3 years. Had an injury last year that gave him perspective. It is an inspiring story.
You know, Kevin, I entered that Zoom call with Charles Bassey as a fan. I've watched him play. I love his motor. He goes and gets the basketball. He's tough. I left that call as an admirer. That's how impressive Charles Bassey was. What a great representative of the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky. Just unbelievable kid.
Has his team in position for a potential NCAA bid. Nice help defense there by Anderson. He knocked it out of bounds, and it will be Houston ball. Kelvin Sampson, year 7 at Houston. Become a familiar sight in the national landscape because Houston has put itself on the national landscape. Regular season conference championships back-to-back years. And Houston right now just behind Wichita State in terms of winning percentage. They are 12-3 in the American. Mark off the inbound, hits a three. And Tremont Mark has 10 points off the bench. Again, he came into the game early with the 2 fouls to Marcus Sasser, and he's balling out.
He had 12 points and 6 rebounds in that blowout against University of Cincinnati. And Tremont Mark is a special freshman in this league. This is a star in the making right now. And you can feel that he's no longer a freshman. He's a sophomore now. And Kelvin Sampson has judiciously given him opportunities for significant playing time in big situations. It is paying off now. It'll pay off big later.
13-2, Houston run. Jordan Rawls has come off the bench for Western Kentucky, and on the shot, we have an offensive foul as Rawls went up. Charge drawn by Gorham.
Justin Gorham has such good vision. He's got a tremendous motor. He goes to the offensive glass literally every single shot. Watch it. Every single shot. And defensively, he's learned how to move his feet. He has good vision. He's a good charge taker. Showed it right there why.
Houston Cougars number 6 team in the net. They're a 3 seed in Joe Lunardi's current projected bracket. 6-2 in the first 2 quadrants. Gorham from Grimes. Gorham will shoot it over Bassey. And the rebound tipped into the hands of Western Kentucky's McKnight.
We'll see more zone from Western Kentucky after that possession.
They'll throw it out there a little bit. They have barely gotten the ball to Bassey. Maybe only the 3rd time he's touched it, I think. Good feed from Bassey. Anderson is fouled. Giroux and Gresham converged, and Josh Anderson, a former ESPN 100 recruit, will go to the line.
Houston is known for the monster. The 2 big guys coming over the double, and Rick Stansberry was ready for it. You watch Bassey. He drags the 2 defenders away, which creates space for Josh Anderson to fill that gap in a quick decision. That is preparation by Western Kentucky for a team that only had a few days to get ready for Houston. Houston known for the monster, the double team of the 2 bigs. And Western Kentucky, that is masterful execution.
Anderson, it's the first. Fabian White checks in for Houston. His 3rd game back from a torn ACL suffered last May. He's way ahead of schedule, Fabian White, and he has looked good in his first 2 games for Houston.
Yeah, I'm excited about Fabian White. I mean, this is a guy that was injured, battled back, He's a team guy. He's selfless in so many ways. And now he's back on the court. He's earned his way back. And it's fun to watch him get significant minutes. He's only about 80% from what I've seen so far. But if they get him to 90%, boy, is that an interesting puzzle piece for Kelvin Sampson to add to this roster.
13 and 10 in 28 minutes his first 2 games, and his first career 3. Pretty good 80%. Here's Giroux, the jitterbug. Bassey there to clean up the rebound. Bassey with his 2nd rebound. He is still yet to attempt a shot.
Looked like a blocked shot, too, by Bassey. I think I got his fingertips on it.
Battle for the rebound won by Houston, as it so often is, and Tremont Mark. It was a blocked shot by Bassey, 3rd leading shot blocker of the country. And this is a foul. Goes against Kenny Cooper off the bench. Fabian White near double-double in his 2nd game back. The team had announced in May he was out for the year, and then his rehab went well ahead of schedule. And around December, Kelvin Sampson said, we didn't push him. He came to us right around Christmas time and said, I think I can play this year. Not every senior with a free year would necessarily risk that. But talked to Kelvin this week, and he said after the game Sunday, I thought Fabian was ready to play on Monday. He was so juiced up.
Yeah.
There's Kenny Cooper, the Lipscomb transfer, off the bench to play the point. Cooper and Walls are off the bench for Western Kentucky, which is without its best shooter, Luke Frampton, out for undisclosed reasons. Their best scorer off the bench. Try to lob it to Bassey, and White plays free safety, knocks it away with 7 to shoot.
Fabian White hedged on the on-ball screen and then sprinted his tail back. Look how far out he is. But he sprints. He's got his hands active. I love Fabian White. He brings defense, he brings effort, and he understands the angles of defense to get back and make a play. That is a brilliant defensive play by a big.
5 to shoot for Western. Here's Cooper. Cooper takes it in strong and finishes tough. The redshirt senior, Kenny Cooper.
Yeah, he's got a good, strong body. He's got experience off the bench. That's why Rick Stansberry loves him. He can trust Kenny Cooper to make good plays coming off the bench.
Houston shooting at 7 for 12 in the early going, 3 for 5 from deep. Grimes with a good look. Grimes swirls home his 2nd 3.
So we've seen Grimes open now 3 times. That's a product of not being as familiar with Houston, not having the repetitions in the scouting report. He's been too open so far early in this game.
And Giroux has 4 assists as Western Kentucky turns it over. Mark is fouled before the layup. The foul committed by Kylan Milton off the bench.
Unselfish basketball. Houston has it as part of their DNA. Quentin Grimes from DeJon Giroux. Grimes knocking down shots.
You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. Greetings from Houston, Texas, where the Cougars have not lost in almost 2 full seasons. 22 straight wins here at the Fertitta Center since the loss to Oklahoma State in the non-conference last year. And DeJon Giroux has been in the middle of just about all of those. Last 4 games, Mark, Giroux is starting to become more of a scorer. He continues to handle the ball beautifully. Tonight he has not scored, but he has 4 assists.
I called his very first game at UMass, and he was like a box of chocolates. You never knew what you were going to get. He might as well have had a reversible jersey on, because sometimes he played really well for you, and other times he played really well for them. But this kid has matured. You know, it all goes back to, as we take a look at Grimes finishing, when Early Nelson, his grandmother, passed away, and then he lost his cousin, Theodore Jones, known as the rapper Young Greatness. And I've watched DeJon Giroux continue to mature to where Kelvin Sampson now calls him the best teammate on this Houston team. That is high praise from a coach that I coached against and coached with. He doesn't throw out accolades like that like a box of chocolates. You got to earn them.
There's a finish for Williams inside. Yeah, Kelvin Sampson has called Giroux one of his favorite teammates ever. DeJon Giroux, the first player in his family to graduate from college. Sets up White here, who eschews the three. Charles Bassey getting his first rest right now for Western Kentucky, and Grimes takes it at Williams, who went straight up. White with a save, and it will be Western Kentucky ball.
You run into Carson Williams, it's like running into Justin Johnson, who played at Western Kentucky a couple years ago. Just a big, strong basketball, football type body, rugged. George Fant, by the way, plays in the NFL now. He was another big body four-man that just moved guys around. Fant's my favorite player ever at Western Kentucky. I love that kid. Now he plays in the NFL.
Western Kentucky 6 of 11 shooting, but 6 turnovers. There's a bobble by Tavion Hollingsworth, the all-time minutes played leader. 14-point-per-game score this year for WKU. Williams on the drive, another basket in the paint for Western Kentucky. Carson Williams scores.
There's that Mack truck rolling down the highway down Owenton, Kentucky right now. That's what Carson Williams brings you. Nothing but a big grill in your face.
There's a bump by McKnight. He's called for the foul against Mark. Tavion McKnight with the 5th foul for Western Kentucky. And hey, Carson Williams starting to heat up. His numbers have dropped significantly from last year because last season Charles Bassey didn't play in the non-conference.
Yep.
After a fractured tibia. Williams was the guy. He bodies up White here, but Giroux grabs the offensive rebound. Grimes. I mean, that's just really, really good offensive skill for Quentin Grimes.
You know, he's another guy that when he's a first shot maker, holy cow, does Houston get good? I mean, we've talked about it, Kevin. When Houston can have Marcus Sasser knock down a few shots, Quentin Grimes makes some shots, Mark makes some shots. You know, this team is so good, Final Four worthy, when they make a few shots. And Grimes, one of those key guys, when he makes his first shot and you don't have to rely on an offensive rebound, which they're great at, it makes Houston just uber tough to beat.
He's got the last 7 for Houston. Quentin Grimes, 4th in the conference in scoring, 8th in rebounding. And Kelvin Sampson's talked about it quite a bit. The better rebounding, the better defense. That's what has made Grimes a Houston Cougar, and the increased scoring has just come along with that. Double team comes, McKnight able to get out of it. Williams passes up an open 3. Anderson misses an open 3. Bassey back in the game. He could not grab the offensive rebound. Giroux, wow, feed. A little too deep. Gorham sets up Grimes, though, and Grimes has 10 in a row. Timeout, Western Kentucky.
From the best teammate on the team, DeJon Giroux, to an absolute athletic animal and Justin Gorham and Quentin Grimes, you got it going tonight.
Such a fun night of college hoops coming up after our game. 4th-ranked Ohio State against Michigan State. Big Ten doubleheader following Iowa, Michigan over on ESPN. Michigan State 12-9. They're just off the bubble. This win would go a long, long way in getting Sparty back in the mix.
They got a chance to watch.
First shot of the game, and he missed it. Go ahead, Mark.
Got a chance to watch Ohio State, and boy, Chris Holtman's done a great job. E.J. Liddell's one of those guys who's just hard to guard. I mean, he's got a big body. He's got kind of a big Barkley at 6'7", 240 pounds, and the game to prove that he's really, really good and going to be really, really good at the next level when he has his time to go.
Hollingsworth bumped on the way up and fouled. It's an 18-8 run right now for Houston, which is shooting at 61%, 5 of 7 from 3. Western Kentucky shooting at 7 for 14, but they've turned it over 6 times. That foul on Giroux is his second, and Giroux's going to join Sasser on the bench with 2. Tavion Hollingsworth at the line where he hits the first.
Well, there you see the score. 16 points a game, 4 assists a game, constantly attacking the basket. Hard to guard. You know, another team in Conference USA that's hard to guard is North Texas. They're right there for the conference championship for Conference USA with Western Kentucky. Javian Hamlet, James Reese, Zachary Simmons, all those guys are double-figure scores. Grant McCasley's got a really good program down at North Texas. The Mean Green.
Western Kentucky, I think, has the best at-large profile in the conference, but they have some very stiff competition. Marshall, North Texas, and others in what is a good league this year. That pass thrown away. Bassey with a steal for Western Kentucky.
Dan D'Antoni, one of the most electrifying, entertaining coaches in college basketball.
10-point lead for Houston. Western Kentucky looking to come back, get that signature win to boost the resume here on this Thursday night.
Late winner, huh, KB?
Oh, what a beautiful afternoon it was, Dallin Cuff. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang off the head from the left-footed delivery of Bukayo Saka. Nobody else cares about this, but it was a great afternoon for Dallin and I as Arsenal move into the Europa League round of 16. Were you paying attention to that, Mark? Were you locked into Arsenal Benfica like we were?
I'm paying more attention to Dallin and Jordan right now. Like, they're my faves. And I want to tell you why. Because they're diverse, right? They're very diverse. One does, like, hosting, and the other does analyst. And then they switch off, and the other does hosting, the other does analyst. I mean, I can't do that. I'm not smart enough to do that. But Jordan and Dallin are both obviously went to high-level schools and a high level of intelligence. I love it.
Shoot, you and I can barely do one job each. Western Kentucky turns it over again. And that is 7 turnovers for Western Kentucky, only 1 assist. Grimes with 13, Mark with 10. They have been the heavy lifters for Houston. Here's Grimes on a step back. Oh, yeah, Quentin Grimes is feeling it tonight.
And the athletic Josh Anderson was the blanket defensively. But Grimes figured out a way to get past the whoopee and knock it down.
They've got 25 of the last 27 for Houston. Grimes on a heck of a run by himself right now. Here's Bassey on the perimeter. McKnight back to Bassey, and he missed the dunk, but he was fouled. Charles Bassey, 6:52 to go in the first half, will finally try to score.
Well, what a good back cut right there. Fabian White overplayed a little bit. There aren't many big guys that can cut that hard, that D-cut, right to the rim. That was explosive.
Bassey, good free throw shooter too. 75% free throw shooter, Mark. He can hit from 3. He's 33% from there. And not just rebounds, not just blocks for him. 18-point per game scorer for Western Kentucky. And he hits both free throws here.
Well, you've really got to credit Houston's defense early, as Bassey has been a non-factor until right now. Western Kentucky now going back to that zone. It bothered Houston a little bit several possessions ago.
Mark has got Bassey on him. Mark will shoot it. This is it way long. Defensive rebound, Josh Anderson. Williams with the grab by his fingertips and a chance at a three-point play.
I love this kid. Barrel-chested, big old Kentucky boy from Owenton, transfer from Northern Kentucky. Just a good fundamental basketball player. And you folks in Kentucky, you know what I mean. I was born there as well. Played little hoops in Somerset, by the way.
Is that far from WKU?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a hike because, you know, that's in Western Kentucky, and Somerset sits right on the Lake Cumberland.
Okay.
Played junior college basketball there. Loved every single second of it. Man, when you play in Kentucky, one thing you learn how to do is run. Get up and down. There's two kinds of coaches, whoa and go. If you're from Kentucky and you coach like Rick Stansbury, you are a go. So was I, by the way.
Hey, Rick Stansbury's got 3 former Mr. Basketballs in the state of Kentucky on the roster. Williams, one of them, finished a three-point play. McKnight, 2020 Kentucky Mr. Basketball, the reigning winner of that award. Got a foul against McKnight here on the turnover. Davion McKnight picks up his second. Saturday, great day for college basketball across our networks. A couple of matchups to highlight for you. Illinois and Wisconsin at 2 Eastern. Not sure if Io DeSumo will be back for that one. Suffered a broken nose, we found out today. That's 2 o'clock Eastern. And then the ACC leader, Florida State, against North Carolina, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 Central, ESPN, and the ESPN app. UNC trying to recover from a bad loss at home yesterday to Marquette. Grimes in the corner, hits a 3. He's got 18 points. It is all Quentin Grimes. He's scored Houston's last 15.
Grimes has been dominating. And this is a team, when they smell blood in the water, they usually circle quickly, and they make their strike quickly.
That's a 3 for Kenny Cooper. 6 for 19 from 3 on the year. That was a needed shot. Grimes around Anderson, finds Bryson Gresham. And nobody besides Grimes can hit right now for Houston.
There's a reason why Bryson Gresham doesn't shoot very often.
Cooper with a runner. Kenny Cooper's got 7 points off the bench, a 2.7 point per game score, having an awful shooting year for most of the season. And here's Western Kentucky back within 5.
Yeah, you've got to get more physical with Kenny Cooper, otherwise he can get on these runs.
Grimes, a little bit too high degree of difficulty there. Bassey the rebound for the Hilltoppers.
Let's look for Cooper again to make a play. Number 21 in black. Keep an eye on him. They go inside to Bassey instead.
And Bryson Gresham rejects him. One of the best shot blockers in the American, Gresham, with his first of the night.
Well, you can see why Western Kentucky just continues to hang around. They're putting the ball inside. They're moving the ball aggressively. I like the angles of the Rick Stansbury offense. The number of triangles, the way they spread the floor, the way they use Bassey as the point of that triangle inside. Really good stuff offensively for Western Kentucky.
10-3 run for Western Kentucky after its largest deficit of 12.
Houston now goes zone. Watch Bassey on the offensive glass.
That shot blocked by Gresham is second in a row. It'll lead to a shot clock violation. That is 7 out of 8 games with multiple blocks for Bryson Gresham, Mark, and he got 2 in the same possession.
Remember now, Houston and Kelvin Sampson decides to go zone on that possession. It confused Western Kentucky just enough where they wasted a lot of the shot clock early, recognizing the defense.
Marcus Sasser back in the game with 2 fouls, and he turns it over. On the run out, Anderson. It's a 12-3 run, and Western Kentucky's within 3.
Off the charts athlete, Josh Anderson. He just jumped the route.
This is 38th steal in 20 games, nearly 2 per game.
Yeah, he's really accurate. He's got great feet. He's got a little Spider-Man in his game. Got great feet. He's got long arms to use. Another steal for the Hilltoppers.
Williams on the leak out from Hollingsworth. Williams will stay in bounds after Giroux threw it away for Houston. Back-to-back Cougar turnovers.
Boy, a battle inside between Gresham and Bassey. They've been physical with each other. Keep an eye on that matchup down the left-hand block.
Cooper just over dribbled. Giroux on the deck, and it squirts free to Houston. It'll be the 10th Western Kentucky turnover. A lot of turnovers. Bassey only has 2 points, but the Hilltoppers are down just 3. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com.
Man, Mark Adams, thanks, my man.
The leader of the DC JC fan club, Mark.
That's right. That's right. They're my guys.
For vice president. 3-point lead for Houston. Quentin Grimes has scored the last 15 points.
God, he's open again.
Quentin Grimes fouled on a 3.
So this I know. When you play against Houston early in Kelvin Sampson's career, you better know where Rob Gray was. You better know where Damian Dotson was. You better know where Armani Brooks was. you better know where Nate Hinton was. And now you better know where Quentin Grimes is, because he's been open on that set play. I mean, you cannot give him the window that wide open to knock down shots.
It's been 11.5 minutes, Mark, since somebody other than Quentin Grimes scored for Houston. That was Tremont Mark at the 14-20 mark. Grimes has the last 18. He's got 21 in the first half. He's already 8 shy of a full game season high.
But Western Kentucky playing downhill, dribble penetration inside, double teaming Bassey, moving the basketball. That is good stuff right there.
Unfortunately, it ended up with Williams getting triple teamed and blocked from behind. Giroux came over, 8 to shoot for the Hilltoppers.
So you know what Williams would do next? He'll gather himself and find a wide open teammate. Smart kid, he'll figure it out.
Reggie Chaney got credited for the block. Cooper's got to use a timeout. That's the second of the first half for Western Kentucky. Kenny Cooper couldn't get the ball in. All right, we told you about Illinois, Wisconsin, Florida State, UNC. There are so many more great games on Saturday. Louisville and Duke is your 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 Central game. And hey, Duke is knocking on the door of the tournament now. They've won 4 straight. This is a big game in the bubble. Followed by number 2 Baylor, number 17 Kansas at the Fog. Bears a little bit rusty yesterday in their win over Iowa State, or a couple of days ago in their return from a COVID pause. Those games on ESPN, those games streaming on the ESPN app. Baylor, Kansas, Louisville, Duke. What stands out to you, Mark, from those two?
Carnick Jones stands out. You know, he's going to be hard to figure out defensively for this Duke team. But look, Duke's done a really good job. They've gotten better at being selfless offensively. They've been more connected defensively. But the thing about Jones is, for Chris Mack, scores it, rebounds it, assists it. He's got great court vision. It's going to be a fun game to watch.
Bassey buries a 3, and he hits from the field for the first time from way downtown. Charles Bassey with a triple.
Well, I love this Western Kentucky team. They beat Alabama earlier in the season. They beat Memphis, who's in the top 60 in the net. And Grimes is open again.
They got lucky this time. He missed it. He's 4 for 6 from 3, but the offensive rebound was cleared by Chaney. Grimes going to work on Cooper. Bassey steps up to the help. Grimes will force it to Giroux with 5 to shoot. Giroux along 2. And somebody other than Quentin Grimes scores. Finally, as Giroux gets on the board.
You know, Kevin, Western Kentucky, as you look at their top 100 wins over Alabama, Memphis, they're attacking the rim again. Marshall twice, Rhode Island. You know, they also beat Northern Iowa. Now you say, well, Northern Iowa, they're down this year in the Missouri Valley. They weren't when Rick Stansbury's team played them. A.J. Green, one of the best guards in the country, was not injured. Ben Jacobson had a full roster in that early season tournament. And they beat them as well. Won't get any credit for it, by the way, by the selection committee. But when they beat Northern Iowa was picked to win the Valley with Loyola and Drake, who's done a great job.
Again, if they can pull this off, Western Kentucky, as Bassey smothers Chaney. Wow, what a block shot that was from Charles Bassey.
That was nasty by Charles Bassey.
Bassey's going to take another 3. Oh, Anderson, a high flyer. Question, was that ball still above the rim? That looked like it might have gone in, but Anderson said, the heck with that. I'm going to go up and get it.
Well, if it was above the rim, it was like 8 feet above the rim. Josh Anderson with the deposit. Count it.
He might be the most athletic kid on the floor.
Oh, he is. I told you. I mean, that dude can fly.
Jamal Shed in the game for Houston. Here's Shed. Little used guard off the bench. Grabbed by Gorham, the offensive rebound. Rick Stansbury's got his hands on his head. Kelvin Sampson takes the use it or lose it timeout.
I remember the shot by Ty Rodgers. This is the dunk by Josh Anderson. Hilltoppers, I can hear you in Bowling Green. Oh my goodness, Josh Anderson.
I'm going to say it. This This has got to be offensive interference, right? I mean, it's just got. I think the ball might have gone in off the bounce. I don't care because it was awesome. I'm just.
No, it's great.
Just saying.
Let him play.
I'm just saying.
That thing dropped from the rafters.
Rules.
That thing dropped from the rafters,
Oh,
as did Josh Anderson. How much fun was that? And I even got a Ty Rogers reference in.
Yeah, I don't know where that is on the Mark Adams bingo card, but it's on there somewhere.
Hey, he hit the big shot in 2010 to knock off Drake in the NCAA tournament. Ty Rogers, the shot, is memorialized in Diddle Arena.
Western Kentucky, 23 NCAA tournaments. That's the most of any school in Conference USA. And the last time they won the tournament was 09. 12 seed, they beat Illinois. And they did win a first four game a few years later. But before that, 2008, Rogers hit the shot. They made the Sweet 16 before losing to UCLA by just 10. They could make the tournament this year.
Zone now by Western Kentucky. Watch Gorham, number 4, go to the offensive glass. Keep your eye on Justin Gorham.
Grimes has to hoist, hit nothing. Should be a shot clock violation no matter who it's off of, and Western Kentucky will have a chance for the final shot. What do you want to see here with 9 seconds?
Hollingsworth downhill. How was that for brevity?
Okay, good. Going to be Hollingsworth. He's going to go downhill. He's going to get fouled, or is it offensive? It looks like the forearm shiver was the call, but we're going to get a foul against Shed of Houston for using the forearm.
So this is the real story of this game on the Western Kentucky side, that Houston has had a difficult time deflecting the dribbler to the sideline. Guys like Hollingsworth have been able to get downhill in this game. Therefore, the points in the paint by the guards.
And Hollingsworth now 4 for 4 at the line, one of the best free throw shooters in Western Kentucky history. Western Kentucky is 9 for 9 at the free throw line, keeping them in the game.
And Western Kentucky shooting 52% against Houston. We don't see that often.
I mean, we've seen Houston time and again this year hold teams under 20, under 25 in the first half. Not these Hilltoppers. You don't want to see them in March. You want to see them in February. 19-8 run to close the first half. Western Kentucky is within 1. Dallin Cup and Jordan Cornette. You're watching ESPN's Road to Champ Week, presented by Wendy's. What a high-level first half this was. Western Kentucky and Houston, a 1-point lead for the Cougars, who allow their most points in a first half all season. Kevin Brown, Mark Adams, and again, worth reiterating, Mark, Western Kentucky, a win at Alabama already this year.
Yeah.
If they can pull this off, and they're up for the challenge, they may find themselves in the field, win or lose in the conference tournament.
Yeah, Western Kentucky has been really impressive. How impressive? Look, Houston's the number 5 rebounding team in the country. They out-rebound their opponents by 9 rebounds a game. Who's winning this rebound battle right now? Western Kentucky is +7 on the boards right now. And Tavion Hollingsworth and the guard play of getting into gaps, making plays. This is a dangerous team. You don't want to see them in February. You sure as heck don't want to see them in March. This is a quality basketball team out of Conference USA.
Their issues were turnover-based, Western Kentucky. They had 10, but shot at 52%, never missed 3 consecutive shots in the first half. Houston, meanwhile, dominated by that man. Quentin Grimes went off. 21 points. He shot 7 of 12. Tremont Mark had 10. Rest of the Cougars outside of Grimes and Mark, just a combined 8. Western Kentucky ball as we start the second half. Charles Bassey with 5 points for the Hilltoppers. Only 1 made shot from the field. Hollingsworth leads the way with 11. As we get a 3-second call against Bassey, and another turnover. That's the 11th for the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, Bassey and Chaney were beating each other up in the paint, and then Bassey forgot about the time.
Oh, and they forgot about Grimes. But the Toppers are lucky as Grimes misses a 3. He's 4 for 8 from deep. Hollingsworth on the take, and a foul called. Chaney came over to help, and Hollingsworth went down hard. It's Reggie Chaney's second foul.
But Hollingsworth just explodes the rim, and Justin Gorham, look, he just leaves Justin Gorham in his wake. I mean, Justin Gorham has a long catch-up step, really athletic guy. Fabian Hollingsworth made him look like he was standing still. Really impressive.
122nd game of his career, 122nd starts. He is the all-time minutes played leader at Western Kentucky. He surpassed the great Courtney Lee this year. And right now he's at 1,770 career points, top 20 among active players. He has given Western Kentucky the lead, 40-39, the Hilltoppers here in the second half. Dejan
like
4 assists in the first.
This is like bracket busters on steroids. I just love this matchup tonight. Really
Game
good Conference USA team.
96 hours ago. And we talked to these teams about how the game came together. Kelvin Sampson and Rick Stansbury hoped to play this game last week. The American moved the Houston-Wichita State game up a week. Sasser hits the three, puts the Cougars back in the lead. Just to finish the story, they hoped to play the game last Tuesday. The American moved the game up. The Houston-Wichita State game that was scheduled for today 1 week because Wichita State's game with Memphis was postponed. And it's a good thing they didn't schedule the game for last Tuesday because of the weather issues in Houston. They wouldn't have been able to play it anyway. So they had the open date this week, and here they are. Grimes hits a three. He's got 24. Back-to-back threes, and Houston's in the lead. Timeout called.
Quentin Grimes just dominating tonight. And he's open every shot. Somebody's got to guard him.
Back-to-back threes for Houston. Sasser and Grimes. Rick Stansbury used his third timeout. The Cougars are in the lead. This is a non-conference game, Mark. Look at the conference standings, though, and Houston is the one lock in the American right now. Good to see Memphis back yesterday. SMU hoping to get off COVID pause soon. And then Wichita State at the top of the line. Some teams on the bubble.
Yeah, Isaac Brown right now, my coach of the year. Tyson Etienne has delivered Wichita State to the top spot in the American. Right now, Wichita State, I believe, is an NCAA tournament team. I think Memphis has an opportunity. SMU has an opportunity once they come off COVID. And I would suggest that both Memphis and SMU take a page out of Houston's playbook and look for quality games. You know, the Colorado States are out there right now. When you look at teams that have the right type of metric to help you along that path, you know, those would be the types of teams like Boise State, for example, would also be a good match in that way. VCU, St. Bonaventure, all those teams, if there's some way that some of the commissioners, the athletic directors, and the coaches can figure out to play games like this one coming down the stretch, it does nothing but help your metric.
And that's what this game is, scheduled 4 days ago. Western Kentucky 76 in the net, but a couple of quadrant one wins, including at Alabama. They've also won at Marshall. They beat Memphis on a neutral floor. They swept Marshall, so they're 4-2 in the top two quadrants. And a turnover by Hollingsworth.
What hurt Western Kentucky, they lost to Charlotte. And listen, Conference USA has back-to-back nights. They play the same opponent on back-to-back nights. If you've never done that before, really hard to sweep on back-to-back nights.
Offensive rebound, Gorham off the miss from Grimes. Gorham's going to shoot out. And this rebound is cleared by Kenny Cooper, the point guard off the bench. What a good first half. Cooper. I mean, this Kenny Cooper with a 26% field goal percentage, Mark. 12 for 46 coming into the game. He is 4 for 5 tonight.
He had 9 points earlier this season against Middle Tennessee State. But he brings experience off the bench. Oh!
Joe Rowe with a rack attack.
Whoa!
.25% capacity crowd, feeling like 100 at the Fertitta Center. Bassey trying to get free.
We actually got the layout to listen to the crowd.
Be like the second time this year I've had a chance to do that. Beautiful sound. Bassey, Giroux knocked it away. Shot clock violation and a takeaway for Houston.
I hate that call. I hate that call, but I love this play, and then I'll talk about that call.
Okay.
Dejan Giroux, as the black sea of jerseys parts. Oh my goodness. And that is just explosive with the exclamation part and a little bit of attitude mixed in. I hate that call. You know, when you play defense and there's a shot clock violation and you're getting the ball on the run, I think officials should be able to use their common sense and let the play continue. I hate that rule.
Do you like that rule?
I hate it.
Just check. Okay. Hollingsworth denied on the interior. Here's Sasser. Gorham, Grimes. Chaos is a beautiful thing. 6-3 in the game for Grimes, and that ties a career high. He's got 27.
If Western Kentucky is going to earn a bid here tonight with a win on the road at Houston, Houston just came out and pumped them early in the second half. How will they respond?
Hollingsworth fouled by Grimes, his first.
Ladies and gentlemen, Quentin Grimes has been open. Quentin Grimes has been open a lot. Quentin Grimes is making a lot of shots. That's all you need to know.
Dynamite drop it.
Quentin Grimes has been on fire, so how do you stop him? Look how wide open he is, shot after shot. No black jerseys around him. So you know what? I'm taking one guy in a black jersey. I'm going to introduce him to number 24, Quentin Grimes, and I'm going to tell that black jersey guy for me and say, if Quentin Grimes leaves the floor and goes in the men's room, I want to know which stall he's in, because I think he can make shots from the seated position as well. That's how good Quentin Grimes has been tonight, and I want to know exactly where he is every single second of every single possession.
He has tied a career high with 6 threes. He's got 27 points, 2 away from a season high in points, 5 away from a career high in points. There's a lot of basketball left to be played. It is an 11-2 Houston run after Western Kentucky took a brief lead. Hollingsworth into Grimes, and Grimes got hit in the face. It is Western Kentucky ball, but the concern right now is on the face of Quentin Grimes.
He's not coming out unless he's got a bloody nose. You'd have to cut his nose off to take him out of the game now, the way he's shooting it. And if he came over to me and I was his coach, said, Coach, my nose is sore, I'd tell him to tape an aspirin to it and get back in there.
You tell him to tape an aspirin to the nose? I don't think that's how aspirin works.
Yeah. Well, it does for my teams.
Okay. It's an immersive philosophy. Bassey out of control. Giroux nearly got a steal. Bassey goes behind the back, and that didn't work out. His third turnover, Western Kentucky's 16th. And Sasser misses a 3. But Giroux grabs the rebound. He is fouled on the way out.
I think Houston got the text message that Western Kentucky was winning the battle of the boards at halftime. I'm pretty sure someone sent a text message to the team letting them know they were getting out rebounded. And I think maybe it was that guy that texted him. I'm pretty sure.
So to be clear, you think taping aspirin to a nose works, and you think a head coach should text his players at halftime?
Yes.
Okay.
New wave.
When
wave
does your
communication.
coach's handbook come
The
out?
kids like that. They like texts. Kids like it.
You are nothing if not a purveyor of the kids culture, Mark Adams.
Absolutely.
It is 10 on the free throws from Giroux.
We do have fun, Kevin Brown. We do have fun.
Do. How can you not? Anderson on the catch. Anderson, no. Grimes tips it twice to himself. And Grimes has his first rebound of the game, oddly enough. Ooh, he almost shot it. Sit down to the bench, says Bart Smith. Gorham goes to work. Bassey comes over, and the follow there for Cheney. Bassey came over to help, and he left the space for Cheney to clean it up.
Kevin Noble-Brown, you know your basketball. A little bit of help from the post guy, and Cheney goes right to the rim. Nicely done, Kevin.
Thank you, Mark. Nicely done by Reggie Cheney. He's got 6 points.
Yeah.
Bassey just 5 points, 1 for 4 for Western Kentucky. Anderson, that's not necessarily his game. Grimes has another rebound.
You're starting to see why Houston has been a top 10 team the entire season. Dropped to 12 now, but they'll end up in the top 10 when it's all said and done.
Gorham flips it up to Sasser. 5 to shoot for Giroux. And he lines up a 3.
Boy, is Houston good.
That's 10 threes, Mark. They go 10 for 19 from 3. They can hang with anybody in the country.
That's exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. This team makes their first shots and doesn't have to rely on unscripted shots. Their top 4 good, final 4 good.
Jordan Rawls finally a bucket for Western Kentucky, only their 3rd 3 of the game. And Rawls is into the scorebook. Grimes.
Again.
Anderson fouled on the rebound. That shot by Rawls ended a 12-0 run. And now Anderson draws the contact and the foul. As Bryson Gresham will check in. Third foul against Reggie Cheney. So Cheney will sit. And Kelvin Sampson is telling him what he did wrong.
He's probably telling him, you know, if you really jumped a little bit higher, you could have dunked it harder.
Do you think so?
No, I think it's actually on
good
defensive.
Good lip reader.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
How can they get Bassey more involved, Western Kentucky?
You know, I think that Bassey's got to really want it now. I mean, when he shapes up big like he is with Bryson Gresham, and then Black Jersey's got to square up and seam as well. Oh, boy.
2 to shoot. Shot clock violation. Cooper way late and way short.
Houston can make you look like this. This is why Houston is an elite team. This is why Kelvin Sampson's team is Final 4 possibility. When you've got Grimes making shots, Giroux making shots, when you've got Justin Gorham, such an efficient offensive rebounder, Mark making shots, this team becomes elite in the country. Not just good, but elite.
Giroux. Gresham had it knocked away. Sasser there to pick it up. Grimes is getting a breather right now with Tremont Mark back in the game. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Tremont Mark just goes lefty Quentin Grimes, and Mark has a dozen.
He is the next great one at Houston. He will be one of the best in the history of Houston. Watch out for that kid.
Got a dozen off the bench, Mark. Anderson, Gorham all over it. Turnover number 17. Sasser from Giroux. There's a push ahead from Rawls. Bassey with a leak out, and he flushes it.
Maybe that'll get Bassey going a little bit. Maybe it'll become more of a target inside for this Western Kentucky ball club. You know, listen, they got behind the first half and clawed their way back. Let's see if they can do it again. This team has good connectivity, good chemistry. They got to fight hard now.
Cut a 12-point lead, marked down to 1 at the half. Took the lead briefly, but Houston has responded. Can Western Kentucky respond with under 11 to go? Giroux set shot. Oh, did Anderson touch it? The ruling is he did not. The Houston bench doesn't get a say here, but they are very clear with what they think. Well, it's not going to matter. Houston leads by 12, whether they have the ball or not. Obviously, a big resume game for Western Kentucky. For Houston, this is on the borderline of a quad 2, quad 3 win, depending on where Western Kentucky ends up. Here's the resume. Joey Brackets has Houston as a 3 seed right now. They're number 6 in the net. They're 6-2 in the first 2 quadrants. 13th in the country, offensive efficiency for Ken Pomeroy. 2nd in the nation in scoring defense. What's your big picture view, Mark, of Houston as an NCAA tournament threat?
Well, I picked Houston in the preseason and stayed with them as a Final Four team, if you remember correctly. And I stay with that. I stay with that. You know, the key for Houston, though, to be a Final Four team, if they can stay on that 2 or 3 seed line, why is that important? Because then you don't meet a Gonzaga, or you don't meet a Baylor, or a team like that, a Michigan, until your regional championship game. And so that's why it's important to be a 2 or 3 seed. And Houston is right there right now. And they will keep winning.
Lead by a dozen over this good Western Kentucky team, which is right now the leader in Conference USA. Outside of that, they would be right on the fringes of the at-large conversation. They got to get a shot off here. They're not going to do it. 18 turnover for Western Kentucky, and Houston looks like they have about 14 arms out there defensively at all times.
To all college basketball rules aficionados, please change this rule. If there's a shot clock violation, the defense gets the ball, let them play. Reward the defense for a great possession versus what now is a dead ball turnover. I want it to be a live ball turnover. Please listen to me and improve the game of basketball.
A 20-7 Houston run right now. 7 Western Kentucky turnovers in that span. Deep into the shot clock for Sasser. He has 3 points in the game. And he's got 5 now.
That's a will breaker basket right there.
22-7 Houston run. And Giroux gets a high five. Here comes Quentin Grimes. He was on the bench for the last couple of minutes of that run.
Well, this is just tough. I mean, shot clock goes off and Sasser knocked down the jump shot. Had a couple uncles that were players of the year in the WAC and the old Southwestern Conference. He comes from a family of ballers.
He's got a chance before he's through, don't you think? If he stays here 4 years to be a player of the year in this conference.
He kind of reminds me of Isaiah Thomas, the Isaiah Thomas that played for the Detroit Pistons back in the day. But he moves well without the ball. He's physically strong. He can take the ball to the hole. He's a much better shooter than he's shown this season. Marcus Sasser can play, and he's going to only get better.
Still shooting at 36%.
Yep.
A 5-second call here against Western Kentucky. Houston is forcing every kind of conceivable turnover now. It'll be 19 turnovers against Western Kentucky.
Sasser was like on a pogo stick on that time. Bouncing up and down, arms flailing.
I miss pogo sticks. Sasser, high flyer, that's a 3. He's got the last 5.
Oh, this team, we've looked at their defensive stats, and when they dialed in offensively, holy cow, they are as good as anybody in America.
Hollingsworth, that won't go. This half, Western Kentucky's got 10 shots, 9 turnovers. Sasser, not quite. And Gresham just does enough to knock it away from the 3rd best rebounder in the country and maintain possession for Houston.
Motor. That's how this team plays. They just have a motor that revs.
Grimes is falling away, threw it to McKnight. Only the 7th Houston turnover. And it sets up a 3 from Jordan Rawls.
Well, Jordan Rawls, how well did he prepare for that jump shot? I mean, he was sitting down, hands ready. That was smooth.
Gorham in the middle of defense. You might want to guard Bryson Gresham under the rim.
That was complete, total defensive breakdown.
I don't know what I said, but oops was the right call by you. Oh, another takeaway for Sasser. He gets fouled by Bassey. He'll be careful there.
Yep.
Bassey with his third foul.
Western Kentucky goes zone. They cheat up to the ball. And they're left looking at each other as Bryson Gresham deposits the basketball. Houston on a roll.
You know what? I'll give Jordan this. The way Michigan's played the last few games, they look like the best team in the country. I don't know if they are, but they certainly played like it the last couple of games. Winning in Columbus, up 16 over Iowa right now.
Yep. That win in Columbus, I got a chance to watch that game. Actually, I was watching your game, but I couldn't watch you anymore, so I went to the Ohio State game, Ohio State-Michigan game. I love you, but just kind of got out of hand, you know. And here is the flagrant one foul. Yep.
Yes, and it seemed reasonably so right before the break. Charles Bassey with his third. So Sasser hits two. And
so my buddy
a little
Jordan,
friendly conversation. Yes, go ahead.
My buddy Jordan Cornette, first of all, now remember earlier, which three teams did I mention as elite teams? Gonzaga,
yes.
Baylor, and Michigan.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think those three teams right now are clearly the three best teams in the country. And then it falls off a little bit. But I picked Gonzaga as a Final Four team. I picked Villanova as a Final Four team. I still think they're really hard to guard. And Jay Wright, of course, has that championship pedigree. I picked Wisconsin, who has not acted like a Final Four team for most of the last month, but they got hot last season, late in the season like this. And then Houston. Those were my four preseason Final Four teams. I'm staying with them.
I admire your commitment. You're not a front runner.
No. No, everybody else waffles and changes. And I tell you what I think is going to happen in the preseason, and I'll back down from it.
There's three for Sasser. Hollingsworth is open. Way short. Western Kentucky, again, without Luke Frampton, their best three-point shooter. They've only hit 4 out of 14 from deep. Grimes hadn't scored in a while. He still has 27 to lead the way for Houston. They haven't needed him to score in a while.
Yeah, Hollingsworth has been shadowing him.
Oh my! Come on! That's 30 for Quentin Grimes and a career-high 7 threes.
Hollingsworth had one job, to blanket him, and somehow he gets his hands on the ball and then just hits a tough shot. Not bad defense by Hollingsworth, by the way. There you go.
There's Charles Bassey.
Doing his best Jim McDaniels impersonation. The leader of the 1971 National Final Four, excuse me. Hilltoppers in Western Kentucky.
50 years ago, greatest team in Western Kentucky history. The third place game, they won it. Sasser, he is silky smooth here in the second half, as he was on Sunday against Cincinnati. Williams, and the rebound to Giroux. He's got 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 steals, and 9 points. What do we got here? It's a travel.
You know, Kevin, we mentioned that 1971 team, and I got a chance to talk to Clarence Glover this week, one of the stars of that team, double-double kind of guy. Jim McDaniels, obviously one of the greatest players in the history of college basketball. And, you know, one of the reasons why that team was so tight and stayed focused on their goal to win a national title was that on a road trip in Tennessee, McDaniels decided to go to a black-owned club in that city. So he invited some of his teammates to go with him. Some were white, some were black. When McDaniels got there, McDaniels was a rock star during this time, back in the early 1970s. Everybody knew Jim McDaniels. Shows up at the club, and the owner says, Jim, you can come in, but the white guys can't. So McDaniels has a choice now, right? Go into the club, have fun, or support his teammates. And listen, we all know back in 1971 and back in the 60s, there were plenty of guys that looked like Jim McDaniels that weren't allowed to go into certain places.
Sure.
But McDaniels tells the owner, hey, no, if I don't come in, nobody comes in. And took his white teammates back to the hotel with him. I mean, that's when this team, according to Clarence Glover, understood how well connected they were and how good they were going to be. As you look at Coach Oldham, he roomed actually with Clarence Glover. The head coach, who's white, roomed with Clarence Glover. You know why? So they could bring a 13th player on the road. I mean, this is the story of a team of diversity. Oldham nearly lost his job because he played 5 black starting players. As we look at Clem Haskins there on the right, 5 black players were starters. The first team in Kentucky of a Division I ilk that started those 5 black players. He did it because those were his best players. The Board of Regents didn't want him to do it before the Jacksonville game in the first round of the NCAA tournament. But Oldham said, these are my best 5 guys. I'll resign right now. They didn't accept his resignation. They're down 14 to Jacksonville at halftime. All the pressure, all the death threats that are on top of Oldham. But he stayed the course. And Western Kentucky came back to beat Jacksonville 74-72 on a shoelace play, which I won't even get into here. And then they go beat Kentucky. I mean, they beat the dog out of Adolph Rupp's all-white Kentucky team. They hammered them. Then they go and beat Ohio State in overtime and go to the Final Four, losing double overtime to Villanova. And then the consolation game, they beat Kansas 77-75. All because Jim McDaniels understood that he supported his team over the racial issues of the time. That is a profile in courage. That is breaking barriers. That is Jim McDaniels and the Western Kentucky Hilltopper story to the Final Four in 1971.
It's one of the great stories of any team, I think, in the history of men's Division I basketball. And a story I did not know until we discussed it this week, as Hollingsworth puts it in for Western Kentucky. 50 years to the date. And again, the team that went the farthest in the history of this university, which, by the way, is one of the great universities at the men's basketball level in any conference of Division I. 46 20-win seasons. That's the 7th most of any men's basketball program in Division I in the nation.
Coach Diddle, the arena is named Diddle Arena after E.A. Diddle. He's coached for 42 years. All he did was win 32 conference championships. That's the history of Western Kentucky.
History tonight. Houston's going to get a win, it looks like, up 19 as we go down the stretch. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's. Try the new jalapeno popper chicken sandwich and salad today at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Jordan Dallin in studio. Gonzaga has control of the game now. Jalen Suggs control the ball.
And watching Jalen Suggs in the open floor, it's a beautiful sight. Finishing at the rim, drew the contact as well, like all great finishers, keeps his eye on the goal through contact.
Up 12. If you had the minus 31, probably not going to pay. Coming up after us, USC, after this game, USC and Colorado, big one. Evan Mobley, top draft pick potentially.
Impacts it on both sides, defensively protecting the rim, and scores with his back to the basket, can square up and hurt you too.
Just under 12 minutes from tip there. Back to KB and Mark for this finish.
Good one coming up. Some good Pac-12 games tonight. Oregon, Stanford on ESPNU as well. Look forward to that, guys. Here's Grimes. Oh, Quentin Grimes. His 8th three-pointer. A new career high. 33 points for Quentin Grimes.
It's been like shooting practice tonight in the Fertitta Center for Quentin Grimes.
He scored 32 a season ago against Rice, which is the team that Western Kentucky last played 2 weekends ago.
You know, Kevin, for those at home that don't quite understand how this all works before game, as we're broadcasting from home, I'm here in the Enthusiasms basketball cabin right now. And I came in, I don't know, it's probably about 5 o'clock or so to look at Quentin Grimes out there really getting it done. You know, the other thing that's really fun about this is that I get to look over your shoulder and see the Abbey Road. So Kevin has this thing where he's got an album cover, for every game. So whenever you watch it, look for it. And tonight's Abbey Road. Why did you choose Abbey Road tonight?
It is George Harrison's birthday. And Abbey Road, obviously the greatest George Harrison Beatles album. And then we had to give a little love to my sister-in-law, Abby Riviello. So Abbey Road for George Harrison, and then Abbey Road for Abby. Yeah, here it is.
I love that.
We even taped out the E for the second half. So thank you for the setup there and the shout-out.
No, I love
happy
that
birthday,
stuff.
my dear sister-in-law.
Like you had rumors for Fleetwood Mac a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, 50th anniversary. Or no, 44th anniversary. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was going to do a thing on Stax Records a few weeks ago. We didn't get to it because it was COVIDed out, but it would have been great. You would have heard me singing on that one. And you were looking for maybe some Motown or maybe some Stax stuff, you know, to have some fun with that night. I love the fact you like that kind of 70s vinyl vibe. You know, obviously, I can dig that. You know what I'm saying, brother? I can dig it.
All right, now you're going all Hulk Hogan on me, brother. Yeah, most of my records are 70s and 80s classic rock from my in-laws and then some from my parents. But it was a golden age of music.
Yeah, which is right in my wheelhouse. I mean, right in my wheelhouse. I haven't asked for ELO.
I know, I'm trying to find one for you. If somebody has an ELO, send it to me.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, NBA tomorrow night, some good games. Pacers, Celtics, who are separated by 1 game and yet 5 spots in the standings in a muddled East. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, couple All-Stars for Boston. Then the Blazers and the Lakers. Lakers have lost 4 straight. Trying to get back to their winning ways. 10 Eastern, 9 Central. NBA Countdown starts it all at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Nice ovation for Quentin Grimes. He is out of the game with a career-high 33 points. And Grimes hit 8 threes tonight. His previous career high was 6. He is the 3rd Houston player this year to hit 8 threes in a game. And he scores the most points for a Houston Cougar since Rob Gray, the great scorer 3 years ago. I think that was, Rob had 38. I think that was in the NCAA tournament game against San Diego State. A first-round game where Gray hit a shot at the end, and then Houston lost at the buzzer to the eventual national runner-up Michigan a couple of days after that.
So for those fans that don't remember, Quentin Grimes came off the bench for Houston. And there's a guy that transfers from Kansas, big reputation, and sublimated his ego for the good of the team and came off the bench and played well and was selfless. And then, of course, now he doesn't come off the bench anymore as Fabian White. Now, he's going to get some minutes right now. You might want to wonder why. They're trying to get him in shape. They're trying to get him to 85, 90, 95%.
Western Kentucky has had no success inside the game. 6 shots blocked, and it feels like about 16. You're right on White. I mean, look at some of the players who are in the game now. Jamal Shedd's checking in. Gorham's still in the game. Mark's playing. This is what Kelvin Sampson wants. His team has played 21 games, which is more than most, but he still feels like this is the time of the year where he needs to get key players heavy minutes, and that's why White is in the game and Mark is in the game, even up by 21.
Yeah, Mark, a freshman that Kelvin Sampson wants to get him a lot of experience, and that's the opportunity for him to do that. And then Fabian White, because he's sat out with an injury all season until just recently, they're going to let him play. He needs to play. And there's a rebound for Fabian White. Why? Because he blocked off. Doesn't take any talent, just takes concentration and effort. And Fabian White's going to give you a lot of concentration, a lot of effort.
Only 2 points tonight, 1 rebound, but 2 blocked shots for White. Go to work again here against Isaiah Kozar. And White draws a foul.
I want to give Kelvin Sampson a lot of credit for scheduling this game. Of course, it was a no-lose situation, though, for Houston because they're locked into probably a 2 or 3 seed. And then for Rick Stansberry to roll the dice, go on the road, play anybody, anywhere, anytime. They already knocked off Alabama. In fact, they played Alabama because Houston couldn't play them because of COVID.
That's right.
And now they come back and play Houston at the end of the year. But Rick Stansberry, he ain't scared. He's never been scared.
Have that big win over Alabama. That is as good a trump card as any team has on the bubble at the moment. As Juwan Roberts blocks a shot. The net is not great. The net is number 76 for Western Kentucky. Tyson misses a 3. The net's not great because they don't blow teams out. Only 6th in the conference's scoring margin. So they are probably, with this loss, we say probably because it's a weird year, probably going to have to win the automatic qualifier for Conference USA. But if they win out after this, lose in the final, who knows? Either way, as White jams it in for the exclamation mark, either way, good Western Kentucky team. Going to be a very tough out in the Conference USA tournament or in the NCAAs if they get there. But yeah, this was the win that might have put them over the top. They don't get it. It's not the end of their season. Just realistically, with that net number where it is, they may need to win the rest of the way. And they can do it.
They certainly can, but they're going to have to run into North Texas with Grant McCaslin, Dan D'Antoni at Marshall, and some really good coaches in Conference USA.
Well, Houston closed on a 42-17 run. Sunday they had a 55-11 run against Cincinnati, and this is another monster one as the Cougs take care of the tops. Houston is 19-3, gunning for that top 3 seed, and the Cougars put together one of their best halves of the year in this second half. 39-38 at the break. They dominate in the second half. 42-19. They win big as we toss to Dallin Jordan back in Bristol.